These are all about unrequited love, but real love, I hope, and the difficulties of knowing someone and feeling very strongly about someone and wanting to write about that, and knowing at the same time that the whole situation was impossible. So he's the vaquero, and I'm the writer past the dead, and it's kind of a cubist poem. I'm writing past the dead, and at the same time I'm one of the dead looking up, looking into the vaquero's eyes. This is called Neon. Beautiful glow of my infinity, I love you past all reasoning, into groves of dance of life. Love you past where leaves make glowing skies in hidden glens, crystal leaf against the cosmos, ember growing vine. I love you so and cannot tell you, dark your pure light, your bright eyes. To die is final, life is now, mine a life not lived at all. We walk together, talk of vines and trees. I think a poet should really just want to share words with people, you know? And if you want to explain stuff, I write philosophy, I have a background in philosophy. My philosopher is Wittgenstein, though, and what I feel you should do with philosophy is write it down for yourself, get it as clear as you can, and then throw it away, because all you've done is just build an opinion and kind of solve some problems for you at that moment. I don't think they're useful for anyone else, because they'd have to go through the entire same process themselves. They might as well write the thing themselves, you know? If I want to write, I write poetry. I think poetry is really this gift I can give. I'm tired and what I want isn't what I know, but I'll write and talk about things, and I don't know anything, but I'll say to you how much I cannot say, and you'll ask why, when all I know is must, and my body must defend itself against the death of empty space. I ride past the dead, my horse veering, so receptive to other atmospheres. I look up into the vaquero's eyes, how you flick the reins with moody hands. Idle. Water in water, light in light, water descend, water will rise. I lay on the floor, square cold tile, water is rising. I am the floor, sheen on green tile, water cover me, arms to arms cover me, held in green water. I am light, but cannot shine, lips, skin, all beneath green glaze, dim radiance for your curious eyes. I think it's the dance of words. It really is if words could move and be friendly to each other and have tension between each other and present it all as this wonderful full pattern representation for us to enter us, entertain us, but enter us, and allow us to become something outside of ourselves, or become something in itself, something for the first time in itself through a poem. And most of these were written between June of 2003 and I think January 2004. A lot of compression. I think there are about 40 poems I wrote. A lot of reason to write, though. Naked. Not allowed to even be, I ride through forest, child of trees, my first steps halting, treading on dead leaf and seed. Do you see me riding, even hear my horse's echoes, strong dark root of cock and seed? You laugh and slice me, pale knife. Have you heard it, peasant tale of naked youth, a tree, the smell of horse, the sense of oddity? Peasants hide behind dead trees. I ride to the land of mirror, I need to reach you, stretched out languor. Shall I touch you, green leaf figure, beauty of this city? Naked youth, ride hand on hand, glass gaze, I wonder if you know my name. They sing of fire stretched out of water, memory of trees. I grew up in Washington and Texas and California from the age of 9. Lived in California on, lived in LA and Burbank, and then Santa Barbara and Santa Maria and Ventura in 1958. And then San Diego, and graduated from high school in 1964 in San Diego from Mount Miguel High. And I was pretty lucky because the librarians, and I worked as a library clerk in high school, would have things like Poetry Magazine, old ones that they throw out, and they'd give them to me. And I would learn modern poetry through reading Poetry Magazine and through reading really strange things like Eliot's Four Quartets, like Burnt Norton, which I didn't really understand, but liked anyway. Two boys, they hold hands, first time just be friends. He holds his hand, says, my best friend. Two boys hold their hearts as friends. How do they live with life so mean? They hold each hand, say, this is me and I am you. I hold this pen, you read these words. A friend of mine was Buddhist, and he was kind of mean. We kind of fell out as friends. And so I wrote On the Trail. After he told you, has he not pulled you? Did he not push you into water? Swim out of water, little Buddha. Drink all the water in the world. I strike the bell. Which side sounds holy? I love poetry. I always loved poetry, and I think what I think poetry is, it's a dance of words. And I think poetry and music are really kind of like identical, except that there's these structures, concepts and things, sound symbols that are words, and they have special meaning. But man, the tree has its roots in the ground, and the ground and the roots, sometimes it's hard to tell where the roots end and the ground begins. And I think that's what we do as poets, is to present the entire picture, the entire reality. This is called Pluton. It's a sort of Greek ending for Pluto, god of Hades. I love him without symbol, my consciousness into now and now. If I could translate him into God, I would weep, would be a finite God, red bicycle. He is there, somewhere, outside. He has no name. He must have a face. I don't know it. I can't even tell you what he sounds like. Core of love, heart of life. Well, when I was a kid, I was reading like Children's Digest and things, and little limericks and things like that. And I loved the long rhyming poems. Lyric, and then when I got into when I became a kid, when I became junior high and high school, influenced by the Beats, who were very much strongly influenced with jazz and all, and jazz was really it's hard really to say now, but or to really explain it now, but jazz was actually an event which caused a lot of space between notes, as opposed to rock and roll, like Elvis in my day. Jazz was a very cool thing where you would hear tones and then they'd stop. And in beatnik poetry, like Ferlinghetti, you'd lay out a line and then stop, let the audience catch up with you, and then hit them again. And I think it was that splitting somehow of, I don't know, the invention of silence in poetry that got me out of lyric, which makes things seem so modern to me, so real to me. Danish modern furniture in the 50s, it was very unornate, supposedly pure shapes and all. Modern poetry seemed to be pure shape. I always think of my poems as being pretty much lyrical, though, now, they flow, they have a shape, I'll use rhymes sometimes, I always think the successful poem should cause the equivalent of a toe tapping in music, should make you want to write a poem or make you feel like you're ready for the next word, or you're into words themselves. Manta. I do know manta rays, flapping their wings over silent sands. Shadows of manta rays where turtles live and caiman conchs, I've seen them. Here, I floating down below with barracuda, silent ebb against white sand, I swim in motion, fish, wave, sound, the petty roar of sea inland. The turtles gaze as naked boy plays shadow manta, sweet white sands collect my gray-blue negative as shades of brown. I was actually in the Bahamas swimming with barracuda once in a kind of an eddy flow, and I think that's what I wanted to remember. Here's another lyric one. This is a cover. It's not a cover. A cover is when you're actually doing someone else's work. This is like a Lorca poem. I love Lorca, Garcia Lorca. I love him in Spanish, and translations aren't so good. In fact, most translations for me are like watching a ballet danced in clogs. It's like clonk, clonk. And I wanted to write a Lorca poem, but in English, I wanted to get the spirit of Lorca. And, this is a little bit towards something like that. This is called Shade. In the shade of the alley, in the shade of the courtyard, you swim in mystery. Stupid sun, why do you not look on this brightest star? Velvet shade caresses your cheek, your ear. Here is your shadow. I slip into it to hide. Watch your feet warming the cold tile. Dull sun, now you have only rhymes to sing, jealous of the heat of earth. You're just born to sing, and like in a way you sing what you have to sing. And for me, I sing best, I think, when life is hardest on me, when I really have to like sing out just to release the emotion, the tension, just like a sigh, only like because I have this like ability to like conceptualize and have fun with words, play with words, then my sighs are like these articulated masses called poetry, I think. This is called Lorca. It's about Garcia Lorca. I have kind of trouble with liking it because I think it tries to say too much. And that's, for me, always a problem. But it's about Lorca. Trees are growing in shadow, from the window flowering trees. Soft pines up hillsides, ancient castles, peacock glass, trees take root and grow. How easy do they open, zinc shimmer leaves. If he died, the window would be open. The beautiful one would leave the windows open, see the gentle boy of oranges, fruit and seed from oyster shimmer hands. Root to root, trees twig curl, sweet boy, call your name, we run through forests. Happy to be you, we say each part, bark, root, tree. Seed of dark streets, tree of memory, shadow poems of never was. Somewhere, someday, true boys call me, blink my dream of ever now. Light of evening, light of friends in chestnut hallways, mirror of fall, they call my name, step through my window. I think it must come together at the level of rhythm, because you can't get tone out of it, You can get rise and falling, but it's no pitches. So if I'm really doing music, like dee da dee da dee, there's like real pitch, harmony. Those are real things. And you go like from harmony structure to another harmony structure. And maybe in my poems, like I'll like flip. I'll be writing like the water flows, and then I see you walking down the street. Water flowing, walking down the street, which seemingly have nothing in common. But I think those are like harmonic modulations. Somehow, they feel right to me, and I think the reason they feel right is because they feel like music somehow. I think what we do, or what I do, is to try to invent love and beauty itself as art beyond just my experience, so that our experience is shared, through art. I think we learn everything through art, through aesthetic. Lyric Suite 1. You come into the room, and I must pretend I am not part of you. See you here, and all the chairs, tables, rickety legs are you. I cannot touch the world. Cannot place my hand upon your chest, your cheek, rub across your brow, place the crown of laurel. Light is yours. Perhaps that's why these shadows over light must be my own quick dread. Fear you'll leave before I see enough of you to see at all. Cupid. I am no more, but will soon be no more, will become as bright as all that's radiant. All on earth but one is dimmed by folly. Clowns bash light bulbs in the house of love. Lost in darkness, lovers look for phantoms. Spirits grown like roots in garden darkness. Dark desire for ghostly dreams and shadow. Finials atop a crazy house. Painted mansion, playhouse in the garden. Painted figures dance as playroom toys. Lovers kissing parties, clever figures. Nest of Roman clowns, that naked boy. Aesthetic. Interesting, the skilled old surfer, hogging, bending the waves. More intelligent, the boys pushed aside, strong, delicate curl of wave. How beautiful they see pelicans dive, glide, skimming and skim again the skins of ocean, fly to the sun. And so I invented this kind of pure possible universe. What does that mean? I wanted to invent a moment of beauty where all would be resolved, even if it didn't involve me. And so I wrote this lyric, and it was originally called Lyric for an Unknown Singer, and it'd be for an opera perhaps, where the singer is probably 16 years old, and he's in school, and he's in love with another boy, but he doesn't quite know what that means. And let's say this is before the invention of gay, where, things were a little clearer, but also a little less defined, and you could just have ambiguous feelings, if you know what I mean. And that's what he's got. And then, so he's singing this song. And the music's sort of like Alban Berg, a little bit modern, but a little bit lyrical also, melodic. And he says, I don't know how a boy's supposed to love a boy. I don't know how it goes. I don't know how a flower grows, or why the sky towers up so very high above this field of poppies, many flecks of candle color, lovely flowers. You're a boy, and I must love you silently. Above the crashing L's and T's of logic life, I whisper so much singing, say so softly how I feel. Orange split open, flowers dropping from the sun. I say, but cannot raise my hand to touch your cheek, nor even raise my song above the hiding talk that you may hear my open words. I don't know how a love might be, but anything you asked, I'd answer, ride the embers through the fire, slide the spring-thrashed streams of ocean naked to the Everglades. Whatever that means. Heart like a boy. Heart like a boy, I dream I fly to the spire of island, ride beating flanks to land on green sable, rub the birthstone, redstone smooth, burnt ember, reach to you. I fear your eyes, my curiosity. You hand me a golden rope. I do not know how it could be. Boy, pistream beads on lilies. How we have bodies, edge of living, point of splendor. Press the rope to me, dry wheat straw, hidden ember, dream of lips, your salt dry fingers. I'm a visual artist, I'm a photographer, and I'm a successful art photographer. And what I do is I take pictures of light and take pictures of shadow, and the relations of things are light and shadow. And so really I'm giving voice to this intangible, which is like a harmonic change between light and dark. And I think it's very, very easy. In a way, it's easier to be a visual artist because I'll be angry or sad or feel really rejected, and I'll go out and find the purest thing I can see to photograph, and it'll be some little root or something, or some twigs or things, the kind of things I write about. And I'll just feel that these are just pure, beautiful, lost things, and I'll photograph them. And I think I do it in such an honest way, such an expressive way, that the things fit right into the frame in the right way. And I think that's what, music and poetry are for me too, I wrote a long poem, a kind of a plaintive poem, or a plaint at least. It's called Cave Painting, where I tried to explain my position as an apology to this person. And it was long and complicated. And then I had the idea that I didn't give it enough content. And so I wrote some color poems. I wrote 4 color poems, which were actually the colors of the drawings on the cave, although it's sort of obscure that that's the case. But here are 4 of them, and I call them together, I call it a quartet, and it's kind of like a string quartet, and a classic string quartet, like a Haydn quartet, with different movements having different uses, but all of them playing into the middle. Red ochre. I don't know, but you're like the clarity of water, beaker of translucency, transparent to the pines and hills of my Tuscan vision, your Renaissance eyes, Da Vinci figure in red chalk drawn before he broke the glass of water. Like water, you bend the elements of my vision, 2 echoes off Red River walls, or so reality as I might know reality, red clarity of my image of you this sunset evening, far from where you talk with friends, the empty glass upon your lips. Cobalt blue. Far away from you, there is a magic moment of you where I am 2 people, your hand on my chest, my heart, your heart in mine. Far away from you, in that moment of being you, when I'm no longer gray and cold and only me, I kiss you, kissing me, see your eyes, my sparkle blue, stripped diamond pure in scattered velocities of crystal black. I miss you so, yet never left you, never joined our being ever only mine as mirror of a golden sky, minor universe, 1/2 of night. Burnt umber. You draw the line in amber gold, I draw pale green around your finger. Faggot tracing of your memory, green for amber burnt in mirrors, umber browns, green vivid blues, and blood-thin amber, red of summer meadows. I grab the earth, hold the dirt of grape and plankton, fossil tissues, build a mound of amber orange, translucent tomb decayed to umber in the quiet dark. Trace your name into the earth, I draw the art and love, and umber figured you were never there at all. Amber sparkles in the dirt, my faggot soul. Chrome yellow. All the edges of sand in shallow water, earth's ripple, movement over waves have turned to water. All is liquid and colored red ochre. Forest fires blaze bright, consuming lesser motions. All is fire, casting color on the pale periphery of ocean. Water of life, water joining boy and girl, chrome ochre chest and arms claim precedence of love, and yet is told as colored water, caustic yellow, chrome identity, boy and girl, chrome yellow hair, chrome wave above the sea, blue shadows. I have a model of this metaphor model of when you have a bowl of water. If you have just a bowl of water and you start stirring it, then you make this funnel. And the funnel is this triangle that's created out of nothing, just because you caused force, And then down at the bottom of the funnel, you see the bottom of the bowl, And like, I think that's what art does. It's like we create something out of nothing for the viewer. We trick them into thinking that there's something wonderful going on, something mysterious, when actually it's rather banal, perhaps. Mysterious, and then at the bottom there's this, people are looking at the bottom, well, how can the bottom be there, in the sphere? And we've tricked them into thinking that there's a mystery to the universe, and it's not a full-on trick because we really believe it ourselves, of course. We believe there's a mystery, but we're just kind of reminding the viewer or the listener that there's more going on around them than what they see or feel. We're inventing a time space. I think we invent time. I think time isn't a real thing per se. I think that we have discrete small units of time that we live through from moment to moment, depending on what we're looking at and why we're looking at it. And I think art invents a little time space in itself that takes us out of our other time and focuses, And I don't know what to call it if not time. I like sometimes how poets are brave enough to talk about stuff, talk about people being hurt, talk about other people, and I'm pretty selfish, so in my writing, so for me to be pulled out and want to take a risk won't always come out as a poem about someone being beaten up on the street, but it will extend a little bit into saying more than I would ordinarily, taking more risks.